How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
I am so excited to be here because I have something very important to talk to you about, and that is how to communicate to the believers that are on this campus in a more effective manner. I've been coming to this campus for off and on for about a year and a half, 2 years, so I know all about y'all. In a good way. Like I've interacted with you. I've interacted with you guys. I've interacted with the religious people on this campus, and I'm fascinated. There's so many dynamic things happening on this campus that it's just been an honor to be a part of. You may not realize it, but what you are doing is having a profound effect on the other people that go to the school and the people that are in your club. So congratulate yourselves for doing that. You are also uniquely qualified, uniquely positioned to make a huge difference, not only on this campus, but above and beyond where you go from here. When you get jobs and you move out into the real world, I think the things that you're learning here are going to have a profound impact on what you do in the future. I want to go over quickly the objectives of my talk today so you kind of know what you're in for. I'm going to go over my story. I'm going to introduce street epistemology to you. By the time that you leave this talk, there should be no ambiguity about what street epistemology is, hopefully, and you should hopefully have a better understanding of what that is. We're going to take a super fun quiz together. Yeah, there's a test, okay? But it'll be fun. You'll learn a lot. I'm going to show you also a 7-minute video of an encounter that I did with a believer, not on this campus, but a different one, and I'm hoping that you'll learn from it and it affects you going forward. I'm also going to show us another video that's 30 seconds long, and it's a video that happened here on this campus. Okay, everyone's thinking, oh gosh, is that me? It's not. I don't think it's anyone in this room. But it was something that caught my attention. It was on your Facebook page, and I want to discuss that. And then in closing, I want to talk about how the SSA, everyone in this room, and even the people that are in your group that couldn't make it tonight, you are in a unique position to really have a profound effect on the believers that go to this campus and even beyond. Okay. I want to talk about my story. That's me. I was, I don't know, 2nd grade or so. That's my first communion. But I never really believed it. I was always kind of skeptical. And it was interesting because I distinctly remember a time where the priest came into our room and went to explain how boys and girls were different. That the girls should be subservient to the boys and the boys were the leaders. And up until that point, we were getting along just fine. We were playing together, and even in the room, we were like, no, that can't be right. He's like, no, but it says this in the Bible, and it's true. And I'll never forget going on the playground and literally seeing the boys on one side and the girls on the other. And there was literally a division between the two. And I thought, that's just messed up. You know, why would I want to believe anything in a book that teaches that? Even at a young age, I knew that there was a problem with that. Of course, I started to have kids. One of them is here tonight. And they started asking the big questions in life. Where do you go when you die? What happens? Johnny tells me that I'm going to hell because I don't believe. That's when I started thinking, oh my gosh, I don't really believe any of this stuff, and I certainly don't want my kids to know it, to be taught it as true, to be more specific. And that's when I started having conversations with people. But it didn't turn out very well. I was antagonistic. I would debate with them, and I would argue. And it didn't work out very well. In fact, I have some siblings that rarely talk to me today because I was a total jerk with them. I made them feel stupid. I was arrogant, and I told them that they didn't know science, and certainly a God didn't exist. And our relationships are strained today as a result of that. Well, the solution in my mind was this thing called street epistemology. I've never heard of it before, but basically it's a technique for talking to believers in a way that doesn't shut them down. Just by a show of hands, how many people here have had a conversation with a believer and you debated with them? Just by a show of hands, how many people have done that? Almost everyone in the room has raised their hand. And now by a show of hands, how did that work out pretty well, just by a show of hands? Maybe 2 or 3 people have raised their hands. Typically, when you have a debate with somebody, it closes them down even more. They don't believe what you say. In fact, they double down on their own belief. You can have a conversation about them, about the facts of an old Earth, but they're going to believe a young Earth even more when you're done. It's just something weird about the human mind that when it comes to facts, we tend to not accept them. And it's an interesting thing. Street epistemology is perfect for those one-on-one types of talks with believers where you can just have a back and forth and ask them, what do you believe and why? In a way that doesn't close them down, in a way that doesn't entrench them further into that belief. And I'm eager to share that with you tonight. Street epistemology is also not about proselytizing. We're not out to proselytize atheism. If anything, street epistemology tries to get people to think critically. It tries to get people to think about how they've arrived at their beliefs, and is what I'm believing true? And that goes across the board. Some of the best discussions I've had have been with atheists that have supernatural beliefs. There may be people in this very room that believe in something that's supernatural, even though you might classify yourself as a skeptical thinker. That's fine, we can have that discussion, but it's not limited to just having conversations with Christians, for example. Okay, super fun quiz time. All right, I'm going to go over 2 scenarios. The first one is about pornography, something that we all enjoy, all right? And then the second one will be about a religious claim, okay? So the claimant says something like, pornography should be banned. I've literally had this conversation with somebody on this campus, and it went almost exactly like I'm about to outline. So what would be a good response to that? Yes?
Why?
Why? That's excellent. How about hell no? Who would have been tempted to say hell no? A couple hands go up. No, don't say hell no. Well, who made you boss? Probably not the most effective response. How about this one? It's healthy. There's nothing wrong with porn. We probably all agree to that, but as far as engaging in a discussion with somebody that believes porn is harmful, that's not the ideal response. It's going to shut them down. A better response. Fascinating. Why do you think that? Nice job. So this is a question to help get to the root cause of why they believe it. So they might come back with something like, well, porn destroys people's lives. Okay. I can assure you, porn is awesome. While you really might think that, as far as uncovering the real reason why they believe it, probably not the best thing. Do you believe everything that you read? Kind of insulting. It's nice that it's a question, but it probably will shut them down. Your life maybe, but not mine. Okay. A better question, how about this? If evidence were to show you otherwise, would you still want to ban porn? When you can get a person to think about their position on something, whether it's abortion or porn or God or karma, magic, ghosts, aliens, that's awesome. If you can do that in street, that's classic street epistemology. If you can get a person to just take a second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and think about it. Why do I really believe that? Somebody on this campus actually told me this. Yes, I'd still ban it because at the heart of it, I'm a Christian. So even though the discussion was originally about porn and the harm of pornography, it really wasn't about that at all. So I could have spent hours and hours talking with this individual about, no, porn is good, it's excellent, I enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. But I would have been spinning my wheels because that wasn't the root cause of why they held the belief, the position about the harm of porn. It's important to uncover the root cause of a person's belief. Keep peeling back those layers, because typically the main reason why somebody says they believe in something is not usually the main reason why they believe it. We probably all recognize that people hold all sorts of wild beliefs. And what I found is that once those faith goggles come off, once somebody realizes that I don't really believe in a God. All these other ancillary beliefs that they hold tend to fall to the wayside. I want to do one more here. We all came from Adam and Eve. Ever hear that one? Yeah. That's a fairy tale. Probably not the best response. It's going to shut them down. Why do they have belly buttons then? I've used this one. Come on. But it's not going to move the conversation forward. Any science-based people here? Couple hands? All right. DNA clearly shows modern humans came from more than two individuals. Well, that's factually true. But rarely is a believer going to say, wow, okay. Yeah, that's convincing. It's probably not going to work. How about this one? That's interesting. How did you come to that conclusion? Keep drilling deeper. They might go on to say, well, God tells us this in the Bible. Okay. Your God is fake, dude. Come on. Not really good. The same God that drowned kids in a flood, right? I could just hear these conversations happening at your booth. Okay. Why do you believe an old book written by goat herders? Who said this? A couple hands? I've said it too. How about this? What is it about the Bible that makes you think that it's true? They might reply with, If you can get that, that's key. They might go on to say, I have faith that the Bible's true. I've heard people, even prominent atheists, that would say, once somebody says they believe something because of faith, that there's nothing that you can do for them. That's the time where you have to disengage and they're beyond help. I disagree. That is the finish line. If somebody says, I believe something because of faith, the discussion just simply needs to pivot to the reliability of faith, and you're pretty much done. I've had countless conversations with people about faith, about the reliability of faith. More often than not, people, just with a little simple Socratic questioning of street epistemology, people realize that faith isn't all that reliable. So don't give up on a person. If you ask them these questions, 2 or 3 questions in, 10 questions in, and they say, I believe it because of faith, you're in the home stretch. You're in the home stretch to helping that person realize, wow, maybe I don't have a good reason for holding this belief. I want you to listen to the number of times this individual who says he's 100% certain his God exists. I want you to listen or count for the number of times he says, I don't know. Okay? And I'm using street epistemology here. I'm not debating with him. What's up, man? You got 5 minutes for a quick interview?
Sure.
You do? All right, awesome. What's your first name?
James.
James? I'm Anthony. You mind if I record you?
No, it's cool, man.
Cool. All right. Are you going to go to school here?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Are you heading to a class?
No, I gotta go get a Scantron. I gotta do a makeup test.
They still use those things? Okay.
Well, I mean, my test ain't until 1:30. I got plenty of time.
Oh, you do? Yeah. All right. What are you studying here?
Sociology. That's
Okay.
my major, sociology.
Yeah.
Right now I got all kind of classes.
Really?
Criminology. I just came out of world geography.
Oh, yeah?
So.
Cool. Well, what I'm doing, James, is I'm interviewing people to see how they arrived at their God belief, if they believe in a God. And if they do, I'd like to understand why and how do they get to that point.
Yeah.
Is there a particular God that you've chosen to worship?
I don't know what you call Jehovah. How do you call him? I don't know.
You're a Christian, I take it?
Yeah.
Okay. How committed are you to the belief being true? Like, if I were to have a scale where 100% is I'm 100% committed and convinced that the belief is true, and 0% is I have no commitment, I'm not convinced at all that the belief is true, where would you be?
You just say 100. I'm gonna say 100 because it's just, I don't know, my grandmother's real religious.
Okay.
You know, and I kind of grew up with my grandma, so
You grew up with your grandma?
Just like the other day, somebody I put on Facebook, you know what I'm saying? He was like, no lie, man. He was like, how can Noah's Ark be real? What did
I'm gonna stand here to get that stupid train behind me.
What did the animals eat? You know what I'm saying? Then he was like, oh, I guess they had self-refilling. You know, just talking down. That don't really affect me. You know, I was raised with it, so I'm just gonna stick with it.
You were raised with it. You know, my grandfather was raised in a time, you know, like with Alan Turing, and he was making the first computer, and back in the 40s, you know, during the war. And he was raised to think that smoking was actually good for him. They had commercials that would promote the benefits of it.
I remember that. I not remember like I lived through it, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you see the old commercials. Like he was taught that smoking was good for him. Does him being raised with a particular belief in mind make the belief true?
Yeah, in a way, it makes. Yeah, I mean, basically.
Okay.
It all depends. It depends, you know, because some people, you know, like they'll grow up and they'll change religions or change mentality. But if you raised in it, it's more. I don't know. I can't think of the word. More real to you, more logical to you.
Okay. So him being raised to believe that smoking was good for him makes it true that smoking was good for him?
That makes him believe.
Oh.
That makes him believe.
That's a distinction. Okay.
That makes him believe that it is. It's not just because he was raised with it doesn't make smoking better, but it makes him think like, why not? I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes him think that it really is good for you at all. But
how is this situation with my grandfather perhaps any different, James, than the situation with you being raised with your grandmother and being taught that this belief is true? How do you know that it's true? How could you be at 100% on the confidence, on your commitment to it?
No, man. I don't know. And I know there's lots of religions. I done had people try to change me to different religions and stuff.
There you go.
I don't know. I'm just, I guess, kind of stuck in my ways. You know, I guess you can say that. Like, I believe what I believe. You know, and I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I just really don't believe. I mean, I can't say I don't believe in other religions because that's rude. You know what I'm saying? I respect everybody, and everybody has their own opinion. I just don't believe in none of
You don't believe those religions, you believe yours, and it's a large result of because you were raised that way. But you would acknowledge that just being raised in a particular way doesn't make the belief true.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to misrepresent your position.
No,
if you acknowledge that that's the case and you don't know if the belief is true, is it an honest position to hold yourself at the 100% mark? Shouldn't you be moving down a tick or two?
That's true. I mean, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I don't know, man. I got friends that's atheists and stuff. You know, I just don't get on with it. I mean, that's true. I never thought about it like that, but that's true.
James, I'd like to give you a card that I have. It has my email address, and my name is Anthony. And if you want to schedule a time to meet, or you just want to hit me up on email, and if you maybe thought of a different answer, or you want to talk about it some more, hit me.
Yeah,
all right?
I'll email you, man.
Please do.
I'm gonna email you probably when I get home.
Oh yeah?
Probably when I get home. I got a laptop.
Will you give our talk some thought?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the talk?
Yeah, I really did. I really did. Make me think, you know. It made me think. It made me do a lot more thinking than I thought I was going to do today.
I can't ask for anything more, man. Thank you very much, dude. All right?
No problem. This is you right here?
That's me.
I'm
Anthony.
I promise you.
I really appreciate it, James.
Have a good one, man.
Did you count?
Yeah.
How many?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. He was great. He was very honest. He was comfortable, even though I'm out there with a camera and asking him all these weird questions. But did you recall when he was talking about how he made a post on his Facebook page about Noah's Ark and how he was teased? And he's like, that doesn't affect me. Like, he brushed that off. The teasing didn't affect him at all. This is James halfway through our 5-minute talk where he's thinking about it. Rarely can you have a discussion with a believer where it's contentious and you're debating with them that they'll actually take a moment to think about what you're saying. And that's the beauty of this street epistemology approach, is that it gets people to think about why they hold the belief. Here he is at the end. The conversation made me do a lot more thinking than I thought I was going to do today. That's a win. Like, that is freaking great to get somebody to admit that. I also want to show you a second video. This one's about 30 seconds long, and this occurred on campus here. I don't think there's anybody in the room that's in it, but I want to show it to you, and we're going to break it down and discuss it.
Because all hell doesn't want you to have a new heart. All hell doesn't want you to have a new spirit. All hell doesn't want you to follow Christ. When you stop the outward acts of sin, you begin to realize how wicked your heart is.
Who recalls that happening? Like half the crowd, okay. This was about 2 weeks ago as a young man street preaching, right here on campus. I want to go over the reaction to that from the SSA. I'm not going to embarrass anybody. There's a larger message here, and I'm not going to call anybody out, okay? But I think you're laughing because you kind of know what your reaction was. Some dismissive memes. Some nasty comments. Why is there an escaped mental patient yelling at people? Okay. So I know Sean showed this at the start of the meeting, but I'm going to reiterate it here. One of the goals right from your website is to promote humanistic values, stand up to religious harm, debunk superstition, promote objective rational thought. I want to reflect on the response that the SSA had to that and see if it's really in keeping with what the SSA intends to do. Now, I've been enjoying your work, the SSA. I've been watching what you guys do for more than a year, probably a year and a half. You guys do some incredible things. Your membership is growing. You help the homeless. You do all these charity events. It's great. And I'm not here to embarrass anybody, but were those responses helpful in any way? A couple of heads shaking now. Maybe at some level they were helpful to us, to the atheists, to know that there was a community that kind of finds this stuff silly. But did that help that man in any way? I don't think it did. In fact, these types of responses might make us feel better, maybe. But if anything, it just feeds into that angry atheist stereotype that we're always trying, at least I'm trying, to get beyond. I know that you guys can do better, and you guys now have the tools to do it. I want to think about this young man for a minute. Let's think about him. First of all, he might be correct. He might have the truth. Now, I've talked to a lot of people. I don't think he probably does. But I'm not going to just dismiss him. All right? We don't know what his background is. If you think about it, he's pretty ballsy to get up there and talk about something that he really believes in. At some level, I think he really cares about you. All right? He believes it to the point where he thinks that he's worried about you. He cares about you. He's getting up there at the risk of being ridiculed to talk about something that he believes. He might be mistaken. I'm pretty sure he's mistaken, but I'm not willing to write him off. I think he has a right to believe in whatever he wants, but those beliefs that he holds have implications far beyond just himself. If he was mistaken, do we have an obligation to help him? He might be a victim. Our brains run pattern-seeking software. right? We try to fill in the gaps with the things that we don't know with conjecture and guesses and biases and prejudices. Sometimes we just ignore those gaps and we just pretend that they don't exist because it's uncomfortable to think about what life might be like without those answers. And this isn't just a God believer thing. Atheists do this too. We do this all the time. I want to go over some tabling suggestions that I think could help make a difference on this campus and beyond. This is a picture that I've seen of your one of your signs, which is great for people that are interested in knowing more about the SSA. But think about the thousands of people that will pass by an SSA booth, a table, in the course of a week. They're going to walk by the sign, glance at it, and keep walking. You've got maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds to get their attention. This information is great for people that are interested in your group, but if you want to reach the people that are holding beliefs that don't comport with reality, then maybe this isn't the best message. How about a sign that just simply said, "Why do you believe in a God?" How about a sign that had only this? Has everything that you've been taught true? Do beliefs that give you comfort make them true? How important is faith for arriving at a truth? If you can be the table that everyone walks by and every day sees another intriguing question that gets them to think and maybe inspires them to want to come and talk with you, then how could that be a bad thing? A couple more here. I came up with these in about 20 minutes, and if there was a group that just came up with one for every day, I'm sure you guys can come up with it. I know that you offer an Ask an Atheist Day, which is great, but it's 2 or 3 times a year. Shouldn't every day be Converse with an Atheist Day? Why don't you do that near daily? Now, I realize not everybody is comfortable, and I'd be surprised if anyone in this room even wanted to do it, to go out with a camera and just start talking to people. It's not in a lot of people's nature. Like, some people just don't want to be the initiator. And that's fine. But what happens when you're waiting for your car to get repaired and somebody says, "I've been up all night praying for my aunt"? That's an opportunity to have a conversation with them to see why do they believe that. If somebody says, "Have a blessed day," we typically say, "Oh, thank you, okay." Why not ask them what do they mean? All right? What church y'all go to? That's a common one that we get here in Texas. What church y'all go to? I was on this very campus where I was walking and I couldn't believe it. There was a guy bending down praying for another guy's knee. I'm sure you see this happening. Why aren't you asking the person that was prayed for and say, "Do you mind if I ask what that was all about?" Or ask the person that did the prayer, "Why do you think prayer works?" Don't be afraid to talk to people. We have an obligation to help people. We need to be less passive and we need to engage. Now, I know that there are people that's too much. You don't want to do anything at all like that. That's fine. But if there are 5 people in this room that are comfortable doing that, and you have a conversation with a believer, and you're calm and you're patient and you're respectful, but you're blowing up inside because you're just trying to get through it and try to be nice, maybe you can be the person that helps that other person decompress and listen to them and say, "Well, what was it about the conversation that really frustrated you?" There's so many other things that you can do. You could be making the signs. Let's say that you see videos out there about street epistemology and you speak a foreign language. Volunteer to translate that and add captions in a different language. That would be really useful. Theists, believers, when they learn about street epistemology, this has been going on for about 2 years now, 2-3 years now, and they're not quite sure what to make of it. They're used to the angry atheist. They're used to these contentious debates. They're used to the counter-apologetics that we give to explain that this really is an old earth, for example. They don't understand why we don't debate them. They don't understand why we're not angry atheists. They're suspicious of it. It's not feeding into their narrative. of the angry atheist. They're also trying to discredit street epistemology any chance they get, and they're way off the mark. They try to paint it as harmful or sneaky or disingenuous, when it really comes down to us just simply wanting to help people be a little bit more aggressive and not so passive, just to stand by why people hold these beliefs. There are so many resources out there for you. There's the streetepistemology.com website. There's this book called A Manual for Creating Atheists, written by Dr. Peter Boghossian. There is a private Facebook group. You just do a search within Facebook for Street Epistemology. Public page, private group. The private group is awesome. You can engage with thousands of people that are having these types of conversations and sharing what's working and what's not. There's also going to be a cool app coming out that will go right on your mobile device to put you right in those scenarios. Like the believer says this, what's the ideal response, what's the poor response? The SSA, you guys, you are perfectly positioned to have these types of conversations. The college-age students, y'all, are generally speaking more open than somebody in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s. Further, you're in a learning environment. You're in an educational setting. You're used to being challenged. You're used to being questioned what you believe and why, and you're learning new things. You have Hindus here, Muslims, atheists who believe in souls and karma, all across the board. And of course, it's a public campus. You should have the right, you do have the right to have these types of conversations with people. And you don't need to be filming them. I go out with my camera and film them so that I have examples to show other people how effective these techniques can be. I want to think about this young man preaching one more time. Imagine if someone from the SSA waited for him to finish and waved him over and sat down with him and just chatted with him. What's compelling you to get up and do this? Why do you think it's true? And have a conversation with him. What if somebody the next day spotted him at lunch, somebody else from the SSA, spotted him at lunch and sat down with him and talked with him again using these Socratic questions of street epistemology? Imagine if that young gentleman had 10 conversations with an SSA member over the course of the semester. This man is going to vote in countless elections. He's probably going to have kids that will be going to school with your kids. I know the SSA means well. I know that you do, but I know that you guys can do better. You guys are in the right location. This is the right time in your lives, and you now have the proper tools to respectfully engage with believers. The stakes are too high to just sit back. We have to get more comfortable engaging with people in a respectful manner. But we have to do so with respect and not ridicule. Thank you.